For decades, it's been the stuff of nightmares, right? This one patch of ocean where ships and planes just vanish. No wreckage, no survivors, nothing. It's a legend that has terrified people for generations. So, what's really going on out there? Well, let's dive in and pull this mystery apart.
This is the line that pretty much started it all. Back in 1964, a writer named Vincent Gaddis basically painted this picture of a place where the normal rules of the world just stop working. A place where disappearing isn't just about sinking, it's about being erased.
And boy, did that reputation grow. Soon, everyone was talking about this ominous zone, this vaguely drawn triangle between Florida, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico. The stories claimed it just swallowed people whole, leaving absolutely no trace behind.
Okay, so to really get why this whole thing became such a huge deal, you have to look at the stories that built the legend. These are the core cases that everyone points to. I mean, just look at the scale of these things. In 1918, a massive Navy ship, the USS Cyclops, with over 300 souls on board, just gone. No SOS, no wreckage, nothing. And then you have the big one, the most famous case of all, Flight 19. We're talking 5 U.S. Navy bombers on a routine training flight. They get lost, and then the huge rescue plane sent to find them also disappears. You can see how a pattern starts to emerge in people's minds, right? Perfectly normal trips that just end in total, baffling tragedy. And this is the quote that's at the very heart of the mystery, these reported last words from the flight leader. It makes it sound like it wasn't just about being lost. It suggests that reality itself was breaking down around them. I mean, even the ocean doesn't look as it should. How do you even begin to explain something like that? You know, with stories this bizarre, it's no wonder the explanations went completely off the rails. We're talking everything from alien abductions to time portals. But there were also some more scientific theories that were almost just as wild. And this is where things get really interesting. People started to wonder, maybe the answer isn't in the sky. Maybe we should be looking down, deep into the ocean. Could there be some kind of powerful natural force at work here? One of the most popular ideas involves something called methane hydrates, which is basically flammable ice. Seriously, the theory goes that huge amounts of this stuff are trapped on the ocean floor, and if it were to suddenly erupt, it would create a massive bubble that could instantly swallow a ship. The water's density would drop so fast the ship would just sink like a stone. For a plane flying through the gas, it could trigger a massive explosion. And as you can see, there are gigantic reserves of this stuff all over the world. Then you've got the whole magnetic theory. So a compass is supposed to point to the magnetic North Pole. Simple enough. But the Bermuda Triangle is one of the very few places on Earth where north gets a little weird, and a compass can sometimes point to the true geographic North Pole instead. If you're a pilot or a ship captain and you don't realize that's happening, it could send you hundreds of miles off course before you have any idea what's wrong. So for years, the legend just kept growing. The stories got scarier, the theories got wilder. But then, in the 1970s, a totally unexpected hero stepped into the ring, a reference librarian from Arizona State University. This guy, Lawrence David Kusch, he wasn't a paranormal investigator. He was just a librarian who got tired of people asking for information on the triangle that just didn't seem to exist. So he did what librarians do best. He went back to the original sources, official accident reports, newspapers from the day of the incident, weather records, and what he found, well, it changed everything. As he dug in, the whole legend just started to fall apart. Case after case, a story would claim a ship vanished in calm, beautiful weather. But Kusch would pull up the actual weather reports and find it had sailed straight into a massive hurricane. Those creepy, famous last words from Flight 19, he checked the official radio transcripts, and nope, they were never said. Some of the ships supposedly lost in the triangle, get this, weren't even in the Atlantic. One was lost in the Pacific Ocean. So here's the kicker, the big reveal from all his research. The Bermuda Triangle mystery wasn't something people discovered. It was something they made up. Kusch found that the mythmakers just ignored the boring facts, like bad weather. They invented juicy, sensational details, like those fake radio calls. And then, as more writers jumped on the bandwagon, they'd just copy each other's mistakes, adding even more embellishments along the way. The mystery grew not from evidence, but from bad storytelling repeated over and over again. Okay, so that's what the librarian found. But what about the official sources? You know, the U.S. Coast Guard, the people who actually have to go out there and rescue people? What do they have to say?
This quote from scientist Karl Kruzelnitsky just says it all. When you actually stop reading the spooky books and start looking at the hard data, the insurance records, the Coast Guard statistics, the numbers just don't lie. The percentage of ships and planes that go missing in that area is exactly the same as any other busy stretch of ocean. There's nothing statistically special about it. So if it's not aliens or magic compasses, what is the real cause of these accidents? Well, the truth is a combination of factors that are way more mundane, but no less deadly. You've got the Gulf Stream, which can whip up incredibly violent and sudden storms. The geography is treacherous, with tons of shallow reefs. It's also one of the most heavily trafficked shipping lanes on the planet. And of course, there's the #1 cause of accidents everywhere: simple human error. And this is pretty much the final word on the matter from the authorities. Both NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, and the U.S. Coast Guard are crystal clear. They say there is absolutely no evidence that mysterious disappearances happen more often here. In fact, they don't even recognize the Bermuda Triangle as a real, official place. To them, there's no mystery to solve. So, if the facts are so clear, if all the officials say it's not real, why is the Bermuda Triangle still a thing? Why do we love this legend so much? And that, right there, might be the most interesting part of this whole story. Because after all the investigations, all the debunking, you come to this really powerful conclusion. The Bermuda Triangle was never really a mystery about geography. It's a mystery of psychology. The real story isn't about some weird patch of water. It's about us. It's about our need to believe that the world is more strange, more mysterious, and maybe a little more magical than it really is. We just love a good story. And that's really the question the triangle leaves us with, isn't it? It shows how a story, if it's exciting enough and told enough times, can feel more real than the truth. It makes you wonder, what other stories do we choose to believe not because of the evidence, but just because we want them to be true?